Okay, I am here on a beautiful day here in Denver, Colorado. The sun is out finally. It was snowing just a couple of days ago, which reminded me that winter is coming, which is kind of exciting. Wanted to introduce you to Jimmy Chang of the YouTube channel Freshly Charged, which is an awesome channel. Tell me kind of what your channel is focused on.
Sure, yeah. So it used to be after me, Jimmy Chang, but now we recently changed the name. It's called Freshly Charged, and we review and test all sorts of personal electric vehicles. We start off with a Onewheel, but we do electric unicycles, electric bikes, electric scooters, and for the channel, we got a Rivian because we felt it would fit in, and so it's electric, it's a truck, it could help us haul all our electric toys, and basically it's just electric tech that moves us, that we can have fun with. That's the stuff we review.
I want to ask you more about that in a second, but I will say the reason we know each other is because of that Rivian that you just mentioned.
That's right.
Which we had a group get together and we met each other there, and so Jimmy was kind enough to say he'd come here and talk to me, and I have a problem, Jimmy. Maybe it's an addiction, I don't know. Yes, these are all my electric vehicles. I have the Rivian R1t, I have the Volkswagen e-Golf, which I also love, and the new star of the show, which we just got a couple of days ago, the Rivian R1S. The reason we have 3 vehicles, it's ridiculous, I know, and we're trying to decide if we're going to keep them all, is because each of them has a very different purpose and role, right? The truck has its own very obvious purpose. They're all battery powered, which is important to me. The car is great for getting around town, goes in tight spaces, a really great, really efficient commuter car. And now the R1S is really kind of geared as more of a family vehicle. It can seat 7, has very similar capabilities as the R1T. We also have, not shown, 2 electric bikes. And I know, Jimmy, you kind of specialize in sort of last mile electric propulsion and getting around. Mm-hmm. Tell me your thoughts about electric transportation and what you would do with my dilemma here. Do I keep all 3? Do we focus on one? What would you do?
Yeah, so a lot of questions there. I mean, first off, talking about electric transport, I share your same problem. I have an addiction too. My wife will tell me that. You look into my garage, we've got a ton of electric vehicles, personal electric vehicles. You look in our storage unit, we have a ton of personal electric vehicles. And so it's tough because they're just so fun. And that's the reason why I got into this. With the battery technology and the motor technology, number one reason why I got into this whole electric thing was it's fun. And after I got into it, I found out, hey, this isn't just fun with the Onewheel or these electric scooters or these electric unicycles, they're also very practical. And getting from point A to point B is the funnest and the most practical way to get around. And then I found that when I'm cruising around on my Onewheel or on my electric unicycle, I'm getting looks all the time. Everyone's like, what the heck is that?
That's fun.
Or they're stopping me to talk about it. And so it's not just fun, it's not just practical, but it's cool. And so someone like an average guy like me, I can go around and people are like, wow, that is really cool. And so for those 3 reasons, that's why I love these gadgets, these toys, these vehicles. I have, and like you, I had at one point 2 electric vehicles, and I thought, do I really need all these things? And for me, we just didn't need the Tesla, so we ended up selling the Tesla, keeping the Rivian because it was more practical for what we needed. We were sad to let it go because it served its purpose. Like you said, each vehicle has its own purpose. And yeah, it sounds like first world problems.
Yeah, of course. We should acknowledge that. This is very expensive. It's a lot of money. It's not for everyone, and I get that. But here we are. I also want to ask, you have family.
Yeah.
You have 3 kids or 2 kids?
4 kids.
4 kids.
Yeah.
So for you, driving around the whole family, that's the only option if you're going to take an EV up into the mountains, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, our oldest, he's in college now, so we have 3 at home plus a dog. And our minivan gets us around. It's not quite as cool or as fun.
Can the minivan do the snow and the mountains?
It can't do the snow. It can get me from here to the ski resort where I want to go with the snow tires, but not nearly as fun or probably as safe as something like this.
And not to mention that it's not electric.
It's not electric.
So that's an important thing. So Jimmy, I also wanted to ask you what's good in electric transportation right now, and yet what needs to be better in your opinion?
I think what's good in electric transportation right now is finally we have electric vehicles that are cool. For the longest time, electric vehicles are always kind of dorky, or they didn't look really cool. They weren't very interesting. And then Tesla came around and they made a cool electric car. And because of that, and because they've shown that an electric car or a car can be electric and cool, and people will buy them, now you have all these other auto manufacturers following suit, and you have new companies like Rivian coming out.
We should also interject there, excuse me, that the performance and driving of an electric vehicle is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I bet you would agree with that.
I would agree. That's one of the biggest reasons why I drive electric, is because it's so fun and the performance is amazing. That acceleration, instant acceleration, I just love it. Once you've driven electric, it's tough to go back. And so I think that is what electric has really going for it. You have a lot of people really interested now because of the potential for electric to be a lot cleaner, a lot more efficient. Instead of having little engines, little things making energy from gasoline in your car, spewing out emissions, and then having millions of those cars out on the road, why not make it so that the energy is delivered to your car, and then the car runs clean and efficient, and then now the infrastructure has to be set up. And so I think that's the next step. We need to figure out how to get clean energy sources, because if the energy coming to my car is from a plant that's burning coal, then that's it probably is cleaner than putting gas into my car, just because that plant is probably more efficient.
But it could be a lot better, right?
It would be a lot better if we had cleaner sources of energy powering these cars. And then on top of that, with infrastructure, I would say just having a better charging network throughout, something a little bit more uniform and a little bit more reliable, because you pull into some of these charging stations sometimes and some of them work, some of them don't work, some of them aren't just as reliable as you'd like.
In your opinion, who are these vehicles for? Like both the small ones, like that you spend a lot of time reviewing, and these bigger ones, medium-sized ones, and so on. Who's it for?
I think they're for everyone. I think they're coming in all sizes and shapes. These electric vehicles, personal electric vehicles, electric cars, and companies are really stepping up their game. I mean, I see some of these Kia cars, these Kia electric cars. I'm like, wow, that's a good-looking car. And it used to be, like 10 years ago, Kia was kind of the butt
There's some
of...
pretty cool vehicles out there.
Yeah, and so I think there are a lot of vehicles out there. I mean, the common perception is you go electric, it's going to be really expensive. And it's true, they are more expensive, but you can find lower cost electric vehicles, and then on top of that you've got rebates and other incentives to get you an electric car. So I think these electric vehicles, these electric personal electric vehicles, there's something for you out there.
I agree, and I think, especially like you mentioned they're expensive, but they also tier a lot. Like you can buy an e-bike for an affordable amount and use that for a lot of your getting around purpose, especially if you live in a city. My wife and I were just in New York City. We spent, I think we took one trip in a car in 4 or 5 days, because the whole rest of the time was either train, subway, or walking, right? And I think that shows, like, look, there are lots of levels of transportation we use. Even though I love this truck, it's probably not going to be the best in New York City. This one as well. This one would be a lot better, but even still, you'd have to find a place to park, and
Sure.
So you got all kinds of problems. I also wanted to ask you what.
But also touching on that, if your budget is even $1,000, there are good personal electric vehicles that you can buy for $1,000. We've reviewed them, ton of fun. I would totally recommend them.
What are some of the things that you've seen coming out that are kind of the future? What you see? Where's the direction of electric propulsion going?
Well, I'm biased because I love my electric unicycle.
I have to try that.
That is super fun. The Onewheel got me started. Onewheel's a lot of fun too, but the electric unicycle, just with its bigger battery, bigger motor, bigger wheel, I feel so safe, so nimble. You can go 40, 50 miles an hour on it if you wanted.
On a unicycle?
On a unicycle.
50 miles an hour on a unicycle.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of blows my mind a little bit.
Yeah, no, I just did a group ride out in San Francisco, and we were going, like, everyone was stuck in traffic, there were cars backed up, and we were just zipping along bike lanes. When the bike lane got congested, we just went in between the cars. And it's amazing how agile, how nimble these things are. And then when you get to your destination, you don't have to worry about parking. Everyone's fighting for parking, and then you have to pay for parking. We just walk it like a suitcase to where we're going, and we set it down and we go enjoy. So I'm biased towards the electric vehicle I'm biased towards the electric unicycle, but there's something for everyone. If you're just wanting to get started in a personal electric vehicle, I would recommend an electric scooter or electric bike. There's a lot of options.
That's cool. Well, are you excited to check out the R1S? We're gonna go for a drive. We're gonna go for a drive a little. Maybe I'll cut in a little bit of B-roll of you driving around here to get your thoughts.
Yeah.
But also, please check out Freshly Charged online.
Freshly Charged. That's
a lot of cool stuff there. Some really exciting things on the future, and you're doing reviews weekly or even perhaps more often, right?
Weekly, yep.
So check that out. Thanks again for coming out, Jimmy. We're really happy to have you here. Let's go for a drive.
All right, let's do it. What's up, guys? First drive in the Rivian R1S. It's awesome.
All right, Jimmy, you've had a chance to drive around a little bit. We've gone fast, we've gone slow, we've gone curvy. What are your thoughts?
Incredible. The future is electric, and this would be perfect with my family. If you've got a big family, you want to move people around, and you want to have fun while you're doing it, this is the car to do it with.
Well, thanks so much, Jimmy, for coming out this way. Look for his stuff on Freshly Charged. And Jimmy, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
All right.